It seems like things are really getting out of hand in the WNBA. Another object was thrown onto the court during a game, and Sophie Cunningham is no longer holding back. She's publicly criticizing both fans and the league, warning that if this behavior doesn't stop, someone is going to get seriously hurt. What was anticipated to be a landmark season is quickly devolving into a chaotic spectacle, and the players are unfortunately bearing the brunt of it. This isn't just an isolated incident or fans being fans. It's dangerous, disrespectful, and completely out of line. The WNBA is currently experiencing an unprecedented season with record-breaking viewership, celebrity appearances, and widespread viral moments, attracting more attention than ever before. Yet, some fans are choosing to engage in this kind of disruptive behavior, throwing literal toys onto the court mid-game. The incident. A recurring problem. Let's revisit the situation. It was a Friday night, and the Valkyries were in a heated battle against the Chicago Sky. Midway through the third quarter, with the game's intensity escalating and tensions running high, a lime green object soared from the stands and landed directly on the court. Players froze, referees blew their whistles, and the object, a seemingly innocent toy, rolled, bounced, and even glistened on the court. For a moment, the entire arena fell into stunned silence, with the exception of Sophie Cunningham, who had clearly reached her breaking point. She immediately took to social media, posting, "Stop throwing toys on the court. You're going to hurt one of us." And frankly, she's absolutely right, because this isn't humorous anymore. It's a serious safety concern. Let's consider the practical implications. These aren't lightweight foam fingers. They are heavy rubber objects, some with suction cups or internal wiring. If one of these strikes a player's head, eye, or knee, it could result in a significant injury during professional play. And all for what? A fleeting viral moment? A TikTok video? Or just a bored fan trying to be quirky? This isn't fan engagement. This is a repeated violation of boundaries. Cunningham is well aware of this. This isn't her first encounter with fans disrespecting the game. She's had to confront hecklers, navigate bizarre comments in post-game interviews, and now, apparently, she has to be wary of rogue toys on the court mid-game. That's not basketball. That's a circus. Not an isolated event. And here's the most alarming part. This wasn't an isolated incident. Just 3 days prior, another game between the Valkyries and the Dream was disrupted by the exact same type of object, same color, same chaos. This time, it landed on the free throw line with less than a minute remaining in a tied game. Imagine the scenario. The most crucial possession of the night, players completely focused, coaches yelling instructions, fans on their feet, and then a neon green object comes flying from the stands, taking a bizarre bounce across the court as if it were part of the play. It's no wonder the announcers struggled to maintain their composure. Jacob Toby tried to remain professional, commenting, "Something flies on the court. I think there was something that flew from a fan." And Morgan Reagan, attempting to analyze the game while a literal toy lay 5 feet from the action, offered the most diplomatic take possible. When you have a lime green item just kind of fly, that's when the whistle should be blown because as a player, you want to feel protected. Let that sink in. We've reached a point in WNBA discussions where the trajectories of color-coded toys are being analyzed like game film. That's how absurd this has become. While the broadcast tried to keep the mood light, Sophie Cunningham did not. She's not interested in memes or jokes. She's there to play basketball. The fact that she now has to ask grown adults, via social media no less, to stop throwing genitalia-shaped objects at her speaks volumes about the fans, not about her. Diverse reactions and deeper issues. However, not everyone reacted with the same level of seriousness. Angel Reese, who has a very different relationship with viral culture, decided to make light of the situation. She quote-tweeted a picture of the green toy with a joke directed at Fever guard Sydney Colson. "Hey, it's Sid J. Colson. Why do you keep throwing your mean green in different arenas? It's getting weird." And admittedly, it's classic Angel trolling, laughing it off, maintaining a light tone. But for Sophie, that's not the appropriate response. For her, and for many other players, this is no longer funny. It's a safety hazard. This situation also points to a more profound issue. Part of why these incidents are so impactful is that women in sports are constantly fighting to be taken seriously. They are advocating for fair compensation, respect, protection, and basic dignity on the court. When fans engage in stunts like this, it transforms a professional event into a punchline. It reinforces every outdated stereotype, every WNBA is a joke tweet, every snide comment suggesting that women's basketball isn't real basketball. When you throw a toy onto the court, you're not just being disruptive. You're being disrespectful to the entire movement. The lack of consequences. Furthermore, let's not forget that this is occurring in a league where physicality is already intense. Caitlin Clark has endured more hits than a human crash test dummy. Players are being body-checked, poked in the eye, and elbowed in the ribs. Now, they also have to worry about projectiles underfoot. That's not entertainment. That's bordering on unsafe. Sophie's frustration is entirely justified, and she's not alone. Players are fed up. They're tired of the antics, tired of being treated like reality TV stars instead of elite athletes, and tired of the league being used as a playground for people who can't behave responsibly in public. Let's discuss the consequences, or rather, the lack thereof. So far, there have been no arrests, no official bans, and no public shaming of the responsible fans. The broadcast barely addressed it, and the league hasn't issued a statement. This silence is a significant part of the problem. If a fan threw a bottle during an NBA game, there would be immediate ejection, a stadium ban, and sometimes even criminal charges. But here, a police officer quietly wrapped the object in a towel and walked it off as if it were a lost child at Disneyland. No confrontation, no repercussions. Just business as usual. That's the fundamental difference. The WNBA is finally receiving the attention it deserves, but that spotlight also attracts disruptive individuals. If the league doesn't start implementing stricter penalties, more people will push the boundaries. So the crucial question is, how far does this have to go before someone intervenes? Will it take an actual injury, a prolonged game delay, or an on-court altercation sparked by a rubber object flying out of nowhere? Because if it reaches that point, the responsibility won't solely lie with the fans. It will be on the league. The line has already been crossed twice, and Sophie Cunningham is drawing it in permanent marker. She's articulating what every player is thinking. We deserve better than this. We deserve fans who respect the game. We deserve arenas where we feel safe. We deserve a league that doesn't laugh it off and sweep it under the towel. The call for action and respect. Yes, Sophie may have spoken with a bit of anger in her voice, but perhaps that anger is precisely what's needed right now. If this type of behavior becomes the new norm, then it's time for some very abnormal consequences. Share your thoughts below. Was Sophie right to speak out? Are these fans pushing boundaries too far? And what steps should the WNBA take to prevent this from becoming the next undesirable trend? And if you're as tired of this nonsense as we are, hit that subscribe button, because we will continue to call out the absurdity until someone finally puts an end to it. This league is too valuable to be treated like a joke, and Sophie Cunningham certainly isn't laughing. It's easy to dismiss these incidents as humorous at first, but here's what people often fail to grasp. It's not funny when you're the one on the court. When you're sprinting at full speed towards the rim, cutting off a screen, or diving for a loose ball, and a heavy object lands under your shoe, you're not laughing. You're risking a torn ACL. And when it happens again just 3 days later, it's no longer a joke, it's a trend. A sick, childish, attention-seeking trend. And Sophie Cunningham was not going to let it slide. Her statement wasn't just about toys. It was about respect for the players, for the game, and for the hundreds of women who have spent decades building this league brick by brick, paycheck by underwhelming paycheck, only to be ridiculed now that it's finally gaining attention. The stark contrast. WNBA versus NBA. That's the real core issue. These aren't just athletes. They are pioneers. Women who played through injuries, flew commercial, shared hotel rooms, and trained on off days simply to keep the WNBA alive. And now that it's finally achieving a new level of popularity, finally entering the mainstream, this is how some fans choose to celebrate, by turning it into a sideshow. No, that's not how this works, not in 2025, not with this level of competition, and certainly not with players like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Aaliyah Boston, Aya Wilson, and yes, Sophie Cunningham, fighting every single day to earn the same level of respect their male counterparts receive simply by existing. Can you imagine this happening in an NBA game? Seriously, can you picture a toy being thrown mid-game at Steph Curry or during a LeBron fast break? Security would be on the offender in 2 seconds flat. Cameras would identify the culprit, who would then be banned, fined, and potentially arrested. The headlines would focus on the fans' egregious behavior, not the object's color. But in the WNBA, it elicits giggles, perhaps a tweet or two, a quick towel wrap, and that's it. That's the difference. The men's game gets security. The women's game gets memes. The stakes and the solution. That's why Sophie's post resonated so deeply, because it wasn't just about the object. It was about what the object symbolizes. Disrespect, dismissiveness, a league still being treated like a novelty, even in its most critical moments. Remember, the first incident occurred in a tied game with less than a minute remaining. That's crunch time, when the best players rise to the occasion. And in that crucial moment, someone decided to steal the spotlight from the players and draw attention to themselves, literally. That's not fandom. That's narcissism. And the WNBA needs to state that clearly and unequivocally. If they don't, if they continue to dismiss it as harmless antics or overexcited fans, they are sending a message that this league is a playground, that the women on the court aren't professionals, and that disruption is tolerated even when it puts players at risk. If that's the message they allow, it will happen again and again until someone gets hurt, or worse, until a player decides it's no longer worth it. That's what people often overlook. These women are dedicating everything to this game. They don't have multi-million-dollar contracts to fall back on. They don't have 10 endorsement deals cushioning every difficult day. They are out there because they love it, because they believe in it, because they know they are making a difference. And when fans treat their workplace like a frat party, it's not just annoying. It's demoralizing. Sophie Cunningham spoke up because someone had to. Not with a brand deal, not with a press team, not with a sanitized, watered-down statement. She posted raw, real, and frustrated. Stop throwing toys on the court. You're going to hurt one of us. It was direct, unapologetic, and frankly, long overdue. Yet, the league's silence is deafening. No official statement, no press conference, no new security protocols, not even a tweet condemning the behavior. That silence speaks volumes. It says, we're not ready to deal with this. It says, we're more afraid of embarrassing the fan than protecting the player. And that's a serious problem, because when Sophie spoke up, she didn't just speak for herself. She spoke for every woman who's ever been told to smile through discomfort, to be cool about being harassed, to not overreact when a vibe turns hostile. And if the league doesn't echo that message, if they don't stand behind her, they are leaving their players to handle it alone, yet again. Moving forward. So what now? What happens next depends on whether the WNBA wants to be a professional league or an internet punchline, because they cannot be both. They can install metal detectors at games. They can enhance their security. They can eject fans on the spot and make examples out of them. Or they can continue quietly wrapping neon rubber toys in towels and hoping no one makes a fuss. But here's what they absolutely cannot do. Ignore it. Not anymore. Because if the players are the ones defending themselves on social media while the league remains silent, that's not just embarrassing, that's cowardice. Let's be clear, this isn't a call for an overreaction. No one is demanding lockdowns or body scanners. We are asking for basic respect, the same level of safety, order, and professionalism that every other major league already has in place. That shouldn't be a radical request. It should be a baseline standard. If the WNBA wants to continue its growth, if they want to build on this incredible momentum, this golden era they've finally entered, they need to take moments like this seriously. Because you can have all the talent in the world, all the star power, all the viral dunks and primetime slots and celebrity endorsements, but if your players don't feel safe, you've already lost. So, here's to Sophie Cunningham for articulating what needed to be said, for standing up not just for herself, but for her teammates, her peers, and the entire future of the league. And here's to hoping the WNBA finally listens. Because next time, the object might be heavier, the timing might be worse, and the consequences might not be so funny. Let's address the elephant in the arena, or in this case, the object sliding across the hardwood. The WNBA doesn't have the luxury of brushing off incidents like this. Not anymore. What happened with Sophie Cunningham and the green object that shall not be named didn't just make headlines. it exposed something deeper, something uglier. On one side, a generation of athletes like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Aya Wilson, Kelsey Plum, Sabrina Ionescu, and Sophie Cunningham are propelling the WNBA into the mainstream. These players are selling out arenas, driving social media engagement, and transforming casual viewers into die-hard fans. But on the other side, there's a system that's still treating them like sideshows. Because when fans feel empowered to throw a toy onto the court twice in 1 week, and there are no immediate consequences, it sends a loud and clear message: we don't take this seriously. And that's devastating. The demoralizing reality. Players like Sophie aren't just battling opponents on the court. They're battling a world off the court that still doesn't fully respect what they do. For every poster dunk or logo 3 that makes it onto ESPN, there's a mountain of condescension waiting in the comments. People are still asking, do they even get paid? Still acting like the league is some charity project or a cute afterthought. Never mind that these women train year-round. Never mind that they are representing their cities, their countries, and in many cases, their identities in a way men's sports never had to. They're out there grinding, playing back-to-backs with half the resources, flying coach while their male counterparts charter jets, getting paid fractions of what they're worth, and now they also have to worry about dodging airborne rubber objects. Give me a break. This isn't just a safety issue. It's a respect issue. And Sophie Cunningham has had enough. That post she made, "Stop throwing toys on the court, you're going to hurt one of us," was the kind of raw, unfiltered honesty that the league needs more of, not less. Here's the truth. These players have been quiet about a lot. About the travel conditions, about the training schedules, about inconsistent refereeing, about the constant comparisons to the NBA that no one asked for. But this was one act of disrespect too many. If you're wondering why Sophie sounded so fed up, it's because she and many other players have been holding their tongues for years. They've played through microaggressions, sexist tweets, and bone-crunching fouls without complaint. They've answered stupid post-game questions like, "Do you think the crowd was distracted because of your looks?" with grace and composure. But when someone throws a literal toy onto the court during a live possession, all bets are off. A call for professionalism and support. And yet, while Sophie was calling it out, others tried to laugh it off. Angel Reese made a joke. Sydney Colson played along. The broadcast booth giggled. The crowd, confused but entertained. That difference in reaction highlights the divide in coping mechanisms. Some use humor, some use rage, some just try to ignore it altogether. But deep down, they're all dealing with the same reality. The WNBA is growing faster than the infrastructure designed to protect it. Faster than the rules, faster than the culture, faster than the respect. And the players, they're the ones paying the price. Sophie Cunningham may have been the one who said it out loud, but she's far from the only one who's tired of pretending everything's fine, because it's not. There's a version of this story where that object bounces off someone's foot and they tear a ligament, where it hits a player in the face mid-jump, or where a fan sees it, thinks it's funny, and escalates things further in the next game. And what then? Will the league still laugh? Will security still stay quiet? Will commentators still call it one of a kind? Because this is where it begins. You ignore the little things, and they grow. You downplay the warning signs, and they escalate. By the time someone finally takes it seriously, it's already too late. So what can the WNBA do? Let's outline some steps. Issue a public statement immediately. A clear, public message condemning this behavior in no uncertain terms. Not just a tweet, not a thoughts and prayers press release, but an actual message that unequivocally states this is unacceptable. Ban the responsible fans. Identify the individuals who threw those objects and ban them publicly. Set a clear precedent. This isn't about shaming. It's about deterrence. If people know they cannot get away with it, they will think twice. Enhance arena security. Implement metal detectors, increase floor-level personnel, and expand camera surveillance. Every NBA arena does this. There's no reason the WNBA cannot. Empower the players. Give players the platform and freedom to speak out without fear of fines. Let them lead these conversations, as they are already the faces of the league. They might as well be its voice. Educate the audience. Use broadcasts to clearly communicate expectations. Utilize halftime interviews and promotional videos. Fans need to understand that this is professional basketball, and it demands professional behavior. The future of the WNBA. Because this isn't some amateur league anymore. This is a televised, ticketed, top-tier sports league filled with world-class athletes. If the league itself doesn't start treating it that way and demanding fans do the same, then they are only sabotaging their own future. And let's be honest, that future is incredibly bright. With Caitlin Clark drawing record numbers, Angel Reese dominating social media, and veterans like Aya Wilson performing spectacularly night after night, the WNBA is on the cusp of something massive. All the necessary elements are in place. The talent, the drama, the storylines, the rivalries, the legacy. But if you don't protect it, if you don't defend the court, then you risk losing it all, one foolish gimmick at a time. So, if you've been watching from the sidelines, thinking the WNBA is still up and coming, think again. It's here. And now, more than ever, it needs fans who show up for the right reasons. Not to throw things, not to go viral, but to witness greatness happen in real time, to support a league that truly deserves respect, and to stand behind players who put everything on the line to build something that was never guaranteed. So, this is your moment. Do you want to be a spectator or a supporter? Because as Sophie Cunningham made crystal clear, there's no room for toys on the hardwood, only pros. Drop a comment. Do you think the league handled this correctly? Was Sophie right to speak out so boldly? And what should the WNBA do to ensure this never happens again? Hit subscribe if you're here for the drama, the real talk, and the respect these athletes truly deserve, because this story isn't over, and neither is this league. Not even close.